wrestling, and this week we've got a lot to talk. This is one of those nights, a lot to talk about, including the Continental Classic, which my great co-host has seen none of, but he is willing to talk about it, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I wanted to watch it, but I kind of forgot, and then when I went to look for it, it wasn't right in front of me, so
that's another issue.
It got lost in the shuffle because I'm a bad wrestling fan, and I didn't watch.
Well, at least you admit it, and just for you admitting it, you kind of get let off easy. So thank you for that. Instead, he was watching 1997 Raw.
You know what I was doing was I was just running through all the Survivor Series in the background this week. So
like how like since the first one.
I started for the last like week and a half or so. I started with 93, just like running in the background when I'm drawing and cleaning up around the house. And I think I'm on 08 right now.
Did you really go through all hours? All those hours of
I mean,
the background?
Dude, I'm not really watching this stuff. It's like on in the background when I'm doing shit or when I'm falling asleep. I'm not really paying attention.
What were some things you noticed from having it on in the background? Any takes off of, like, you know, Survivor Series as a whole or how it's changed?
I mean, if you want to know what pop culture or what the moral standards were of the average person in whatever year, just go to a WWF programming for that year. And then
True.
All your answers.
It'll give you the sensibilities, all the fucked up stuff that was okay.
Yes.
Although even back then they got a lot of complaints. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but Yokozuna was not very liked by the Japanese American Foundation or whoever.
Right. Well, yeah.
Was,
but just, you know, if you want to see where the average American's moral compass was, or just like what was cutting edge, I mean, it's a different time. I mean, Jerry Lawler with the racist / like, you know, sexist jokes,
xenophobics and sexist. It was like, yeah.
Oh my God, they really did that, and I remember all of it.
Just throwing them out there like nothing, too, just constantly, because he was quick.
And a lot of it was like, well, he's a bad guy, so that's what he does, you know, kind of thing. But you know, couldn't fly. And then I got to the point where Jerry Lawler was becoming and through all of this, and I know that I don't know how controversial this is, but and he's had his moments, but I'm not a huge fan of Jim Ross as a commentator overall.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's had his moments and everything.
Abandoning your whole childhood.
Yeah, of course, and there's some times, but there's just times in that, you know, big run of WWE where he was just whining and complaining way too much.
Does that have a lot to do with the way he was booked, quote unquote, booked in WWE? Because we know that he has been bullied, made fun of on the air many times. He was a butt of people's jokes.
Sure.
And they've given him this character a lot of times. You know, I quit, you know.
Yeah, right. And I mean, even now we get kind of the, the ornery or honorary, whatever you say the word is.
I feel like he's not like that anymore, bro. I feel like that was like last year, but he rarely works anymore.
And that's probably purposeful, but, you know, we've got kind of the condescending version of him these days and the, you know, old man yelling at the cloud kind of stuff. But back then he was like a real, I mean, of course he was always on the side of the baby faces, but just whining and complaining about them cheating so much. It was just annoying.
He is a classic WWE yes man also. I mean, that is just... you know, part and parcel for who he was. Remember, he was doing talent relations, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he you know, so it's like almost kind of like when he went to AEW, it was like, you know, he's so used to being told every little thing what to do. I feel like he didn't know.
Well, no, I mean, I think he's one of the hardest working guys for that company ever with the kind of shit he had to deal with. I mean, in his WCW announcing, I thought was much better. And his early WWE announcing from like the mid-90s, early 90s. But when it got to be like Attitude Era and up into that Ruthless Aggression era, he just kind of.
Well, at that point, I would say it really fell off. The whole like
Yeah.
when we're having, and just a lot of the skits and the comedy stuff was really bad too.
And there's just a lot of the, I saw Crime Time and MVP and all those portrayals, and then Great Khali. I mean, there were so many just drastically.
So let's can we unpack a couple of those first for people that might not know? Crime Time, two black men,
yes,
that are criminals.
Yeah, they're petty criminals for the most part, right?
But they can wrestle. But the thing is
that was their character, yeah.
And this was JTG and who?
Shane Gaspard, R.I.P.
No, Chad Gaspard, but what was his name?
What was his name in Crime Time?
That's what I'm trying to wonder, dude. Crime Time. It was JTG and someone else. But Chad Gaspard, like you said, rest in peace, one of the craziest wrestling death stories and saddest ones we've ever known. Yeah, he kind of played his own guy, too, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Chad Gaspard.
He was just Shad, I think. He must have just been
Shad?
Yeah.
Very good-looking guy, I'll say that. Damn.
6'7".
Damn. 39. He was only 39 years old. He was 6'7"?
Yeah.
Holy shit, bro. Oh my god, what a badass. Okay. Yeah. Speaking of that real quick, I don't know if you know this, but they do have a Shad Gaspard award every year now. Did you know that? And it's not with WWE, it's with Wrestling Observer.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they do the award of the person who's done the most positive impact is in the world. That's from the wrestling. And so at first, they had the Warrior Award in WWE, but there's something kind of gross about that.
Yeah, he was a scumbag.
He was a guy. So anyways, I just thought I'd bring that up real quick. So yeah, we were talking about Crime Time, and then you said the next one, MVP. So because I'm going to tell you, bro, there's a lot of black men that I know in their late 20s that said MVP was like the coolest dude in the world. I like that. That was as bad as stereotype.
No. But I liked MVP actually. I like this character a lot. But I'm just saying, like, they have these real, drastic.
He plays basketball.
Characters that really leaned into their ethnicity. I'll just put it that way. Not always offensive. Like, I didn't think MVP was necessarily offensive, but they really, really leaned into any type of like ethnic characteristic.
Anything ethnic. And in a way, they still try to do things like that. It's not as bad, but they have that. But yeah, I mean, if Eddie Guerrero wasn't so fucking good, that probably would have been considered a little racist too. I mean, he lies and cheats, because he's like, Latino, and he rides on his, what are those vehicles that he rides? The lowriders with the hydraulics.
Well, let's not forget, I'm not there yet, but they actually had guys come out in lawnmowers and stuff, right? With the Mexicools or whatever. So we're not even to the peak of. And didn't you have a guy like JBL basically, calling Eddie Guerrero like an illegal immigrant or whatever, like in an angle? Like, Jesus. Dude. Not even the bad guys can do that stuff anymore, right? And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just observing the generations, right? Where bad guys would do really bad things, and
when I think of bad guys now, they're like, I'm thinking of Nigel McGuinness. No, he never ever. They just find the heel to be a cooler wrestler.
And
but they don't
somebody like
stuff like
Dominic Mysterio is just hated because of what he did to his dad and who he's aligned with and how he acts.
That's a great example. He is also someone who's worked very hard and gotten over. But yeah, it really has very little to do with him being Mexican. I mean, they had he's kind of a gangster thing. I could kind of see that. But whether that was anyone, white guy, black dude, that would have been, that's kind of its own thing. It doesn't have to do necessarily with race. Right. Maybe a little bit, though.
With the personal attacks on guys, like, I don't know, like the Seth Rollins with Matt Riddle thing or his family. But it's nothing that has anything to do with, like, his, sexual preference or ethnicity or race or whatever. That
was a big one, bro.
And that was a big one.
A lot of younger guys probably don't even. I'm sure they do, but it's like the word "gay." How common it was, and how like everyone kind of said it. You're gay, bro. That's gay. That's gay as hell. And in wrestling, you called a person, oh, you're a woman, or you're F slur. It's like, oh my god, that is the rudest thing you could possibly say. Where nowadays it's like, no, you just don't say that.
Well, I mean, that's what Bret Hart was calling DX. In that mid, he called him that. So I mean.
Wow.
That was an accepted thing. I don't know if accepted is the right word, but that was a thing where people would say it.
Dude, if it was on network TV, we can call it accepted for the most part.
Guess.
It wasn't something that
I don't know if it's accepted rather than just allowed, or is more of the, or
it was
tolerated.
Accepted by USA, bro. It was accepted by USA and all their sponsors.
I would say tolerated is maybe the right word.
I'd still say accepted, bro. Like, these sponsors know what's going on. They're not just tolerating it. They want in, and they are paying money to get in on this action. So, for the time,
I mean, what's the most offensive thing we see now? Like, Toriano's bullshit? Or, I mean, I don't even know. Like, there's not really anything.
In wrestling?
Yeah. I mean, it's, where you're like, oh my god, this is so racist.
Usually, the real bad shit is an accident. Like, they say something wrong or it's bad timing. The last time I could think was the quarters with MJF. And, like, I don't think that was meant to... You remember that one?
Which, refreshed me?
Where Jay Robinson pulled out a roll of quarters to fucking hit MJF. And then there was that whole
Juice
thing
Robinson.
about MJF being... Did I say... Yeah, Juice Robinson. Robinson.
So he took out a roll of quarters to hit MJF, and what happened? Because I don't think I saw it.
And, like, the whole thing was about, like, MJF being a Jewish and them throwing quarters on the ground and say, pick it up, little Jew boy.
That's what Juice Robinson did?
And stuff. Yeah, but it was bad timing because Juice Robinson was part of his gimmick, was using the roll of quarters. But they didn't think it through, bro.
So it was just something that landed wrong.
It wasn't purposeful, but it landed wrong and they immediately stopped mentioning it. Yeah. But as far as, like, purposeful stuff that's offensive, yeah, it's going to be something MJF says, and it's, or Edge. Or I'd say the furthest you can go is Christian, right?
There's been some Christian Dead Daddy stuff that has been pretty cool.
That's about
I'm not cool,
as far
but, like,
as you can...
pretty out there.
Whoa.
But that's all
that's
stuff
about
that
as
is...
far as you can go.
That's I'm sure it's like... hey, Jungle Boy, we're going to talk about your dad a little bit. Is that okay with you? I mean, this stuff is all
absolutely
clearanced.
It's all
days.
Pre-planned.
But that's not
they probably asked the mom.
But like I said, that's not a personal attack on his ethnicity or his gender or his sexual preference. It's all just kind of like personal life. It's not anything that makes him, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not anything that, some people see in a lower light, or some people like, oh, you're a homosexual, that's bad. There's not anything that people don't, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. There's a word for it.
Well, but, I mean, I just, it is kind of funny because a
lot of us have dead dads, like, it's not like it happens to everybody. So.
Yeah, it's something that happens to everyone. It's something people can relate with, as fucked up as it sounds. It's still weirdly relatable. And especially the guy. And, that's maybe 20 years from now talking about dead relatives will be a, extremely offensive thing. It's possible. And right now it is, but it's passable, right? It's passable where we can say, oh, he's a bad guy. Where if he was saying the N-word and stuff, we'd be like, all right, just because he's a heel doesn't... And we've had those issues. I think... Please tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the Super J-Cast always talks shit about AJ Styles for doing racist promos back in the day. Is this something you remember? Or is this... am I making this up?
I'm not saying you're making it up, but I've never...
Yeah.
I haven't heard the J-Cast talk about it, but it might have been before I started listening to J-Cast. But I mean, I
don't want to say anything bad about, one of my favorite wrestlers.
There's tape of, Excalibur saying the N-word at a PWG promo too, from like circa 2006.
Oh yeah, and there was the thing with Kevin Steen, right?
So it was something like that, but I don't know. Like, I know there's this whole in character stuff, but I mean, AJ Styles is a redneck from the South, So I
Well,
wouldn't be
that's
surprised.
kind of what I remember it being, and the argument was like, when is it okay for a heel to say something so inappropriate because they're a heel, you know? And that's an argument that goes on in wrestling still.
I would never say the word. I don't know what year it was, like, or whatever, but I mean, obviously,
Vince McMahon?
I'm leaning towards, like, wait, what?
Thought you were going to say when Vince McMahon
Vince McMahon did say it.
And that, like, wasn't even super long ago either. We're talking, like, less than 20 years.
Yeah, less than 20 years. I mean, I always use the, like, there's a show TV show, Married with Children. You're familiar with it, right?
Love that show. I've seen almost
Tremendous
every episode.
Show. Right. And that's a show that obviously had some overtly sexist and even, like, racial things. Maybe not racial as much, but
dude, he would make fun of fat women.
It was just, and he was a misogynist for sure. But the thing about
his wife, his wife just wanted to fuck, you know,
and he didn't. But
and he didn't. Yeah.
But what's the thing about Al Bundy that you have this guy that is, in the show, the main character, and he does say and do stuff like that. The guy's a loser though, and the guy's an idiot, and he never wins. He always loses, so he's not rewarded for those. He's a blithering idiot, so he's not rewarded for any of those beliefs. True. You know what I mean? So, is there still room for?
No, he lives kind of a fucked up life.
Yeah. Oh, that show is bad, and that guy's terrible. I'm like, yeah, but he's a loser in the show. He never is like rewarded or, he never comes through or anything like that. He always loses because he's such a, it's not like he's rewarded for those beliefs or, you know what I mean?
True.
So we don't really have a wrestling character like that where that could pull it off, but kind of going back to the AJ Styles thing, like I'm obviously leaning towards, yes, you should, I have to get the context first. Obviously I'm pretty leaning towards, not good AJ Styles, but, I would love to know, not love to know, to be honest, but I would need a little more of an understanding.
Be very interested in.
A little more understanding. I don't even know if I'm interested, to be honest, but before it comes to that determination, the Super J Cast guys, I tend to side with them on the social issues, like almost 100%, so I probably would feel the same way they do.
These are the guys that said that when Will Ospreay kicked his wife out of the group, that it was a shocking domestic violence reenactment.
Well, they kind of wavered off of that pretty fast, too. I don't think they give a shit anymore.
Well, they don't anymore, but they sure did at the time when... Anyways, that's...
he went on a tirade about that. I remember that. Yeah. I didn't think it was the best way to do it in the world either. A lot of people
stopped talking to me after that.
Oh, because you were on their side?
By David. No, because I said, look, I understand it, but this isn't that crazy for wrestling, and I didn't find it that offensive. Now, if you do find it offensive, I'm really sorry, and I'm willing to have that conversation, but I didn't think that New Japan was doing anything ridiculous by having that angle.
Is this where you kind of lost contact with them? I know maybe I opened up a can of worms. But...
I don't really want to talk a lot about it, but David Bixton's span blocked me after that. And so I was like, what the hell, bro?
Bixton's span? He's
blocked a lot of people, though.
But he's kind of a very sensitive guy, I think, right? He's
very sensitive, but he's not quite on the level of some of the worst writers online that are just crazy motherfuckers. Because he still gets around. Like, he does post-wrestling and this and that, but... No, he is he blocks people on the drop of a dime.
I never get into this Twitter war thing because I just don't feel like I have enough conviction in my beliefs to where I want to put it out there like that. Like, I'll talk to you and stuff like that, but I don't give a shit if you disagree with me. Like, to be honest, here and there I might get fired up about something, but, I don't care. When people are, maybe I should more, but,
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. I mean, dude, I've had a couple times in this past couple weeks where Twitter has actually upset me, and that does not happen often. So I say keep off of there because
no. I mean, I get upset at some things, but I never really let it get to that level where I'm like a little keyboard warrior,
Yeah.
But like, I think my interactions with the JCast have been mostly positive. I've tried to like design stuff for
Me
them and
too.
stuff, and I'll message them here and there, and they're pretty responsive. But sometimes they just like they're like, "Oh yeah, we definitely want to do the shirts." I'm like, "Well, give me an email address and I'll send you the artwork." And then I think they're just busy, but
Yeah. Well, we have our own thing going, so we don't need to talk about them. But I do want to kind of move on to talking about something. We were talking about Twitter and keyboard warriors, and I don't want to go on about that subject exactly. In fact, one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast with you, because I thought that a lot of people talked too much about Twitter warriors and everything going on there. But I do want to, this does lead into kind of a little bit of talk about that. First thing I want to ask is about AEW, and if you did see the Like a Dragon street fight.
I did see some of it, but not really. I didn't really watch a lot of that this week. I did watch Full Gear, which we could go over, but I heard it was fun.
The Like a Dragon street fight, man, it was so much. It was hilarious, dude, and it like had so much stuff from the actual game. I mean, you had the baby faces all coming out in the black suits. You know what I mean? Because you can customize your guys to wear all black suits, right?
Yes.
So on top of that, they had the bad guys came out as, some of them came out as Yakuza characters like Takeshita, wearing these like big baggy Asian style pants and the eye patch. So that was pretty great too. And dude, I mean, look, you had Ibushi come out on a bicycle, hit two people with a cardboard tube, basically as soft as possible. They sold it like death. And then he got clotheslined off the bicycle and onto his head, bro. It was like one of the funniest things. I like Ibushi being closed off a bicycle is not something I thought I would see on TV,
It's just one of those things where it's such an inside joke kind of match, right? Like, they were really
people hated it. A lot of people were pissed at it. I mean, of course, we're talking about the
Jim Cornettes of the world,
the crowd, the Jim Cornette crowd, but people was like, "This is the worst death match I've ever seen." I was like, dude, I was laughing when I saw that bicycle spot. I laughed so hard, and I'm at work, and people are like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, dude. I mean, I even showed my coworkers; they loved it. They were like, "That's awesome, dude."
I mean, that's obviously Kenny Omega's little baby right there, right?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, that's DDT. I mean, he's done the bicycle spot in DDT before, back in the day.
Right.
And they've had that spot in DDT. So, yeah, maybe it's Ibushi does crazy shit, bro. And he's looking better, too. He's looking a lot better.
A lot of it with him is I think he was just out of ring shape because he probably hadn't wrestled for so long.
Oh, God, dude. He had just been practicing. I don't think he'd been in front of a crowd for years.
Feels like that, yeah.
Yeah, so that match was great. Big Show was funny as hell, too, just slapping people. And shout-outs to Big Show. The dude's legs looked like they're like worse than fucking... they're worse than, what's that dude's name?
Tanahashi?
In New Japan with the legs at right angles. No, Tanahashi's legs are fine compared to him. The guy that does the Mongolian chops. Why can't I remember his name?
Tenzan.
Dude. Tenzan has, like, his legs go at right angles. Like, his ankles are, like, at right angle. And, like, dude, like, Big Show's getting there, dude. His legs look tiny. Like, they can't support... You know what I mean?
He lost really all that weight a little while. Well, speaking of that, like, I'm seeing a lot of Big Show with those Survivor Series.
Paul White. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's going to be hard ever not to call him Big Show. Even
no more BS, bro. No more BS.
Oh my God.
Get the F out.
I guess it's a little clever.
Yeah, it is kind of clever. But he took a huge bump, dude. He took a body slam from on top of a car onto another car, or on a table to a car. He took a fucking body slam onto the hood of a car, dude, from 8 feet up.
Big Show's 50 years old. So,
But he's a different body. He's different, though. He ain't going to be wrestling till 58, right? Like, he's not like Chris Jericho, who can just keep going and going.
I mean, we've had conversations about, the athlete body in terms of like when you're 7 foot tall and you're
He's just different though, bro.
you have wear and tear.
He's even different than basketball players because he's huge too. Like he's actually physically like.
Well,
thick.
he had gigantism, and he was able to have the surgery to take it out or whatever they do. Like when
he would have been even bigger.
Maybe, yeah. But when you have gigantism, like or whatever, him and Andre the Giant had it as well. There's something with your, I don't know, like pituitary gland or something like that, where they can go in and
it just keeps going, and I think your heart just keeps growing.
Yeah, there's some type of procedure that they can do to, like, I don't know if stunt it's the right word, but to minimize it or whatever. And he was able to have it done at an age Andre didn't, which probably led to a lot of his complications and whatnot. So, yeah, but still, you have a big body like that. That's a lot of weight on your legs, and there's only so much, mobility that you have with that type of weight, and just think about a giant 3-ton pickup truck versus a sports car. That's not going to be able to go 90 miles an hour. You know what I mean? Like, there's just limitations.
And I'm imagining a lot of the damage on him has been a little more pronounced because of his size, because, it's just, especially on the legs and stuff. I don't know all the injuries or surgeries he's gone through, but it seems like he is doing well. I mean, look, he wrestled, right? I mean, that was cool. Came out of it just fine, but, I like seeing him do this stuff here and there. I like it better than seeing him get destroyed in WWE like a fucking loser, which was happening in those last couple years.
I just remember that period where he was like, jobbing up to Rusev and stuff.
And then there was always the joke like that where he would switch. He would switch from heel to baby like 4 or 5 times a year.
Yes, I remember that as well.
So I remember when he did it at speaking of Survivor Series, he did it at Survivor Series and beat up John Cena, and then Sting came out.
That's right.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That moment that we all thought that Nemeth would finally make a big splash in WWE. Nick Nemeth. Dolph Ziggler. Okay, so speaking of Like a Dragon Street fight. Okay, I recommend go back and watch it. Brian Cage dresses as one of the street thugs also. You get what I'm saying? Everyone dresses as street. What are they called? Sojimons.
Right. I know what you're talking about.
The bad guys kind of dress as Sojimon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Besides that, we have the Continental Classic, which, again, you haven't done your homework on, but that's okay because I have. This tournament looks awesome to me, Justin.
It does look awesome, and I wanted to watch it, but I didn't. So, there you go.
Well, no, I'm not giving you shit, Justin. I'm not saying, oh, this was awesome, so you should have watched it. I'm asking for your take on the entire tournament so far. I'm asking for your take on the people that are in it.
No, I like...
Give me a couple minutes. Go. I'll be right back.
Well, the one question that I'm going to have for you when you get back is going to be, what has the presentation of it been like? How is it presented? I like the people in it. I think it's well done. I like the names and all that stuff. I don't understand why it needs to lead to a new title, let alone the blending of the is it the ROH title and the New Japan Strong title? I don't know.
And the New Japan Strong title, but
right, and ROH title too.
I think they have an awesome storyline explanation for that.
Right, but I think it should just lead to having a title shot or at some kind of checkpoint.
Yeah, it should. You're right.
World title shot.
That's what every Japanese tournament is, I would love for this tournament to be a little later in the year and lead to...
Can't get much later.
Lead to an all-in title shot.
Yeah. When's all in usually?
August.
Oh, well then you'd have to have it earlier in the year is what you're saying.
Well, you could... No, I mean, okay, later from this point on, Justin, is what I mean. So, yeah.
Oh, later, later from now, yeah. Not necessarily in the year.
March or April.
Right,
March or April. So, but this is their thing. This is going to be kind of a test. And this is also something I'd wondered if it was possible. Like, in my head, I was like, yeah, they could do something like this, but
with
they would
TV.
have to have...
But that's what I was going to ask you. Is what was the presentation like for this?
Presentation was very good, I would say. Now, when you say presentation, I mean like it's still a Dynamite show.
Right.
The way that the way that they really did it is that they had this pre-show that was really fucking good. They did a pre-show with just the two Tonys, and both of them just announced all the competitors, and I thought that was pretty great, actually. So no press conference or anything like that, which I would have preferred, right? Like that would have been funny and awesome.
Yeah. But I mean, it's go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish your point.
But no, I think they had the great. Now it's a little odd though, still, because they should have announced all the names live on TV. Kind of like they do on in New Japan. But they did this, before the show. They had that half-hour pre-show where they announced everyone, and I thought that was cool. It's kind of cool. We're going the Gold League and the Blue League. Little different. Instead of A and B, I was kind of thinking we should do gold and silver, although silver's considered less than gold, so I don't know.
What's blue?
But blue is just the other league.
I know. Maybe they should have done blue and red or something that's like a little bit like
blue
opposite.
and red. Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Because gold,
not
it's
really
a
a big
little
deal.
picky, but
not a big deal.
Yeah, not a big deal. And besides that, I was also impressed with the planning because it's all pretty much planned out. Every match is planned out. We have, and just like the G1, we know the dates when the matches will be, I believe. And so our next show is going to be tomorrow night at Pittsburgh. We're going to get Claudio versus Daniel Garcia and Eddie Kingston versus Brody King. So
nice.
I think the field is awesome. I think it's really good. A lot of older dudes. But like a lot of guys that are really also vying for top spots right now. So can I list out the guys?
Yeah, go for it.
How about we'll do it old school way? I'll list it out and then we can just talk quickly about them. This is not as big as a G1. There's not 20 people. So yeah. And then you can tell me too if you think they'll win it or not. And I know you haven't watched a ton of AEW lately except Full Gear.
Yeah.
But I think some of these dudes' positions kind of by watching Full Gear.
Sure.
First guy in the Blue League is Andrade El Idolo.
Okay. I mean,
what do you think?
I mean, he's not gonna disappoint bell to bell, that's for sure. But he's just one of those guys that Tony signed and has never really done anything with, right?
He's one of those guys that like kind of like the other one, kind of like Malachi Black, where it's like, I have a strong feeling these guys are just waiting for their contract to end.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're going to do when that happens.
I think they want to join their wives.
Yeah, if they'll take them back.
I don't see why they wouldn't, especially when your wife is Charlotte Flair, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know. Those both seem like, especially since they were in AEW too. Like people look way better when they go back to WWE.
Those are
right?
both guys that asked for their release too, right? They weren't like.
I think there was a rumor about that with Alistair or Malachi, but I don't know if that was because there was a rumor he asked for his release, and then like he came back and was like, "No, everything's cool," and then started wrestling. But he's never gotten any kind of credible push either,
Right. Yeah, so. Neither did Aleister Black. It always looked like they might do something with him. I remember I had a friend that when he was in NXT, he's like, man, I bet you Vince loves this guy. He was good
in NXT, though.
Oh, he was. And he's like, oh, Vince is going to love this guy. I'm like, nah, Vince, too many tattoos. Like, Vince isn't going to do anything with him.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of the late, great... God, it's so crazy we're talking about this guy passing away still. The late, great Husky Harris, otherwise known as... What's his name again?
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt, yeah.
Well,
God, I remember their old names. I don't remember their current names. But they reminded me of each other in the sense that they were both very creative people almost to a fault.
Right. So
does that make sense at all?
Well, yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like they get frustrated when they're not when they don't have that artistic outlet, maybe. So,
and they have so many ideas too. A lot of them are just like the writers are like, okay, let's keep it. I mean, right now, Malachi Black claims that this is part of his WWE storyline. Like he says, Aleister Black has died, and this is a continuation.
oh, Malachi.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Like he said, no, Aleister Black was my last character, and now this is his brother. Like that's like weird.
I
sort
could
of
see
shit.
him being good in New Japan, like bringing him and Brody in, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I think he was pretty good in Tommy End was pretty good in PWG.
Yeah, well, he'll always have that. I mean, he could still do that when they start doing shows next year. I think him and Brody are still the tag champs, to be honest.
Oh wow!
Right now,
that's wow.
But but he's a guy that I think yeah, you're right. They're very similar stances right now. Although I think isn't Malachi in a little bit more of a prominent faction that is in some storylines mid card. That House of Black is still pretty featured. I don't know if featured the right word, but they are, they're on TV fairly regularly.
One of the members is the women's champion now.
Julia Hart?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So she's getting a push. The thing about, look, I'm going to say this. Here's my quick spiel. AEW is really enjoyable. I think each show is pretty great. It's the best wrestling show I watch week by week, and their pay-per-views, I've never seen a bad pay-per-view from them. I've never seen a bad pay-per-view. But still, the online discourse is that the company's falling apart. Tony Khan does cocaine all the time, and that everything is bad. But there's some really great stuff, but there is some bad stuff. So I have to measure this out, because the stuff I complain about, it's not that huge a deal. But people will tell you the company's falling the fuck apart because of it, okay?
Well, yeah, I think I will side with some of the critics on this. I don't like their main event angle right now. I love MJF and all that, but I didn't like.
You don't like MJF versus Samoa Joe?
No, that was fine, but I mean, I'm talking about the Full Gear stuff. But I didn't like what Jay White's been.
We can get it. Presented. We can get into that in a bit, because I think I kind of disagree in a way. But the thing I wanted to say was there is some kind of weird booking / bad booking right now with Andrade. You know who his partner is, dude?
Who is it now?
His CJ Perry.
Who's CJ Perry? Why am I? I'm going to Google that right
Lana.
Oh, right. Yes.
And that whole thing with her and Miro has been kind of dumb. Like, they tried this in WWE where she was like, I'm not with Miro, I'm with someone else.
Well, they did the cuck thing
Dolph
with
Ziggler
Bobby
and Lashley.
Yeah,
so they're just doing the same shit.
I don't understand that.
How the fuck would you? Maybe it's because Miro doesn't want to wrestle that much and she wants to work a lot. I don't know. But he was a big missing part of this tournament that made me sad. I think he's another guy. He's kind of like, he just likes cashing checks and wrestling once every few months,
I think with Miro, like, of course we don't know the real story or anything, but he seems like a guy that's just been, kind of, I don't know if heartbroken is the right word, but like, frustrated with the way he's been presented for a while, and he's just kind of given up now.
I don't know if that, I don't see him being frustrated, bro. I think he's pretty happy.
No, I mean, at times in WWE, and then, when he's early kind of run in AEW, he didn't seem happy.
In WWE, yeah, you had the Rusev section, or was that Cesaro? No, you had the Lana and Rusev Day people. Rusev Day, that's it. It was Rusev Day, and he never got.
Or even that early Barefoot era where he finally lost to Cena at WrestleMania, when they could have just totally elevated him and let him beat Cena. And yep, that was a big match too. That was a big match. I think they had a corners match or a strap match or some shit. Something like that, yeah. He came out in the tank and everything. It was good stuff, but he's a good-looking guy now, though. I will say that. He looks better than he ever has, which is good for his health. Yeah, and, he stopped wrestling in the bare feet after injuring his foot.
Well, it's just crazy, though, bro, because he's actually a really good wrestler, and he's much better now than he was in WWE, and His matches are good. Remember his match with fucking Powerhouse Hobbs was amazing.
No. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I wonder where his head's at. I wonder if it's like that, or if he's texting Tony and being like, "Hey, I gotta work," or if he's just happy. I'd like to know. If we have any people that have the inside scoop, let us know.
Yeah,
is Miro happy? After Andrade, we got Bryan Danielson, probably your out front favorite to win, besides maybe a couple others, right?
His eye orbit is healed all the ways, or is he wrestling in a?
I doubt it. Over under, how many injuries does he get? 0.5.
You know, it's funny though, because like the injuries he got are like kind of freak injuries, like.
Say that, yes, and people say that, but like at the same time, if you're getting freak injuries over and over, that in itself is a message.
But I mean, well, maybe a message of like, okay, I don't think it necessarily means if your arm breaks on an elbow and then you fracture an eye orbit, it's not like a reoccurring knee or this ankle that keeps giving him problems, you know? Well,
the biggest issue with him would be concussions, right?
Right, and I don't think
having seizures.
I don't think he's had any issues with that I know.
Yeah, so he's probably pretty confident, dude. I mean, he knows his body better than us. Like his issue was seizures and concussion, and if he hit his eye, that is pretty random, you know.
Kind of crazy though.
We're getting that rematch. We're getting that rematch too between Andrade and Danielson.
If I would have told you the day that he did that retirement speech in Seattle in what was it, 2017 or something like that. Like
with the crying
right
from
AEW. And wearing the flannel. Was it 2017?
I watched it live, bro. I remember. 2016. Fucked me up.
Right.
Somewhere around there.
If I would have told you, John, don't worry. In 7 years, he's gonna face Okada at the Tokyo Dome.
At Wrestle Kingdom.
Isn't that at the Tokyo Dome? Don't worry.
Fuck up.
7 years. Like what the hell? I mean, it's just kind of a trip when you really think of.
You know what? I probably would have said it was possible just because I was paying attention to all that shit. And I remember thinking, like, it doesn't seem that bad, but we don't see all the bad stuff behind the scenes. We don't see the seizures, you know.
Right. Well, I think it was a
like
thing
he's walking
where, he was still under contract with them for a few more years after. So it's not like he could have ran and gone somewhere else. So he had to stick around and do whatever they told him for the next couple years. And then, of course...
Oh, and he would have gone to New Japan too, bro.
He probably would have if they just flat out released it, if he just got released from his contract. But
they made the best of him. He was great as the SmackDown.
Listen, they took care of him, right?
Yeah, they did.
They paid him well, and they took care of him. And like you said, he had a pretty good run as the GM there. And then when he finally came back, it felt like it was going to be great. And he had actually a really good run with the title.
Yeah.
Maybe his best run with the title. And he had, of all those like made up belts, that hemp belt is one of the, and I'm not like a person that wants to own championship belts.
That's the best made up belt, bro.
I would want that one.
It's 10 times better than the Fiend belt, and it's like 3 times better than the Triple B. So yeah, it is very cool.
That was a very cool belt.
No, and then he played a whole new character too. Played a whole new character that was like unlike any character he had played before.
Yeah,
because his former heel character was the no,
yeah.
And now he took all his love of the earth and turned that into a heel character. Genius.
It was like a South Park thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
So Bryan Danielson, heavy favorite here, although he will be going against Okada soon after this. I almost wish he wasn't in the tournament, but my guess for you, Justin, is tell me if you agree or not. I think Danielson is going to do much more technical work in the next couple months. And he's even said he's going to break Okada's arm. That's the story.
I mean, he's got to be one of the favorites for this tournament and probably take that whatever he wins out of that tournament and defend it against Okada at the Tokyo Dome.
That would be sick. Another favorite for the tournament is Eddie Kingston, and you were saying, "Oh, why are fucking Kingston's belts part of this tournament?" Right?
Well, I wasn't saying why. I mean, I just was stating the fact they are.
So, do you know why they are?
I don't. Do you?
Yeah. Because, well, first of all, because Tony Khan wanted it, but let's go beyond that. And he probably talked to New Japan. The story is, and this is something that used to happen in the Super J Crown tournaments, is someone is so cocky when they enter a tournament that they throw their fucking belts in the ring.
Oh,
and
I did see Eddie do that. Right. I was just thinking from a,
booking perspective.
Booking perspective, but no, that is from the booking perspective.
It is. Well, booking. They just wanted it. They had to talk to New Japan too. That's not his. It's not an option Eddie has. But Eddie like the storyline.
Eddie is just a guy that I kind of like the way he's presented right now, because it's like he's a guy that I got nothing to lose anymore, and it's almost like I need. You know what? I'm gonna just like put everything on the line because I want to. Seems like he wants some time off, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'll just put everything." I don't have a great hand, but I'm going all in.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of how people now, of course, belts get turned into one belt nowadays, but I think this is part of the way that people had like 20 belts back in the day, like your Ultimo Dragon and stuff. I think it was from winning these tournaments where people were throwing their belts in. So, but I think that AEW is going to be eating one of New Japan's belts. I think that New Japan this is just a gut feeling from a few days ago. I think New Japan is going to be winding back the strong stuff. Is that a possibility?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I don't know why they put out the women's tag titles, right? They have women's tag titles, don't they?
Do strong?
They do.
When did they do that?
I don't really know what to make of the whole strong thing, because sometimes I hear interviews with Rocky Romero where he says he wants to bring it. He was trying to get it brought back. So
I don't see anything about a women's tag title, bro.
I think they do have one.
Now, is it an NJPW women's tag title?
Maybe, but I don't know if it's IWGP or Strong. I'm not sure. I think it might be Strong, though. I mean, it's one of those things where you might not find it on the internet.
And the strong women's championship is still very new. I mean, Willow Nightingale is the first champion ever when she beat Mercedes, so that's still very new too. I don't see anything about let's try NJPW women's tag. I could see them doing that for the mix shows. Something's popping up. Yeah, I don't see it, brother. I just see IWGP Women's Champion and the Strong Women's Champion.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what belt I saw them floating around with. Somebody. Whatever. I'm on crack. I don't know. I'm sniffing coke like Tony Khan over here.
It's okay. You that's a whole other issue, bro. Although, you remember that movie Airplane?
Yeah.
Of course, right?
Sure.
One of the best bits of that movie was when the guy was like, I gotta quit using caffeine when I come to work. You remember that joke? And as the movie goes on, the drugs he's like, I gotta quit doing amphetamines before I come to work. And then the last one, he's like, I gotta quit sniffing glue before I fucking come to work. Oh, God, I love that joke so much. Eddie Kingston, Brody King. This will be cool just because we get to see Brody King in singles action in AEW. And he's a badass. Have you seen him live?
Yeah. I used to see him at bar wrestling all the time, as close as, I am to my desk. Huge, impressive guy to watch.
I think someone needs to bring back a new bar wrestling, dude. You and my sister and brother-in-law were going to that.
Were they going to bar wrestling too? They were probably going to the Baldwin Park one.
Yeah. Dude, they were like huge fans of
Joey Ryan?
Jarvis, Gentleman Jarvis.
Yeah.
And then, the guy that, God, I keep forgetting his name, but he was from LA, like a Filipino homosexual gentleman who went into WWE and then
Jake Atlas
failed out of Nick Atlas, yeah.
No, not Nick Aldis.
Jake Atlas.
Jake
Atlas.
Oh boy.
Yeah. They were big fans of him too.
Well, Gentleman Jervis is another person too. Very cool dude.
To him, right?
Yeah. Very cool dude.
Is it true that he talks kayfabe in messages, or he talks in fucking?
No.
He doesn't hit you up with his weird way of speaking or anything?
Not really.
And what stopped that gentleman from ever getting into a bigger company?
What stopped him?
His gimmick? Yeah.
I think I am just speaking. I don't know if I'm the right person to even
Maybe
ask
we just
this.
don't know enough.
We don't. I think there's been. Maybe he's had some issue. I don't know. I don't want to even speculate because I kind of, have had interactions with him and they've all been very pleasant. So yeah. I don't really want to. I don't know, to be honest.
Okay, well, he took over the gig in 2010 from someone else. Okay.
Jervis Cottontail? Jervis Cottonbelly?
Cottonbelly. The mask persona was portrayed in the 2000s by TJ Kane until the 2010s when the independent wrestler Kevin Condron started portraying it.
And this guy, too, he's under a mask. That's super handsome dude.
A lot of them are, bro.
Yeah.
Like, shockingly. Especially the Mexican guys. Like, they get their mask taken off and you're just like, dude, you're like better looking
why were
than
you
most
wearing
people
that?
I know.
Right.
Yeah. Like, they did that with they did that in Dragon Gate with Diamante, and I was like, Jesus, dude. I was like, you never should have been under a mask. Like, guys all young, handsome, you know what I mean?
Or Andrade.
Same thing with Andrade.
Like, yeah.
Andrade. When I seen have you ever seen when he pulled his mask off?
I don't know if I've seen
the moment. He looks like a fucking 19-year-old kid, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's crying and everything. All right, so under Brody King, we got Claudio Castagnoli.
Kind of a little side note here. I'm watching this World Tag League in the background, and I think I need to grow out my hair, and I need to rock the skullet ponytail, of Great-O-Khan. Great-O-Khan is hanging on to those follicles as hard as he can.
He's losing his hair, bro?
Oh, man, you never seen the top of his head, bro, dude? It's
really.
It's just,
you're right.
He must pencil in the hairline a little bit.
But you notice that more than me. Hang on, let me check him out. But yeah, you're right. You are 100. The ponytail is like kind of a like holding on to whatever's left type of deal.
And obviously our buddy Hinare, who I don't know, I know that he was probably starting to get it, but he just started to book it, and it looks good, looks great.
Dude, he took control of that before anyone could even really tell.
Yeah,
He
probably, I know, you're on TV all the time, and you see the angles, and you're like, okay. That's when I was starting to lose my hair. One of the first times.
That's true. You're on TV all the time. Yes.
When you notice that you're losing your hair, you don't really. I don't think the average person always notices because like they just look at themselves in a mirror and then they walk around all day. But when you like, for example, you go into like somewhere that has a security camera and you look up and there's the skin yarmulke right in front of you.
Yeah,
on the camera, you're like, oh shit, this is not going well for me, is it? So,
that usually, that happens to me with my weight. I'm not going to lie. I'll look up there and be like, that dude's fat as hell. Oh shit, that's me. Like, oh man. So it looks different from my own perspective.
But, Great-O-Khan still rocks it where I wish I could do that. But,
we already talked about his match with Moxley, by the way, so we don't need to talk about it more. But that match was cool.
So much fun, yeah.
I love
Great-O-Khan. I hope he gets a real run at some point, but there's just not enough room.
I don't. I'm hoping Hinare takes over.
Oh, Hinare too, man. I want them to win World Tag League. How about that? That?
Great. That would be awesome. But my question for you is, who's going to take over United Empire?
Isn't Ospreay still going to be in it because he's going to be AEW? And I know they made poor. What's his name? Mark Davis can't stay healthy.
They need to have a.
Kyle, what's the other guy's name who's great from
Kyle
United
Fletcher.
Empire? Kyle Fletcher's just some jobber now, right? He's like a
Mark
joke act.
Davis and Kyle Fletcher.
It's like these guys.
No, Kyle Fletcher was in the in that Like a Dragon match and did a fucking pile driver into a table, dude, over a menu for ramen.
But the day before
he
was at the Kings game with Don Callis, Takeshita, Hobbs, and Kyle Fletcher were at the Kings game.
Yeah, but that's because it was probably showing Hobbs and Homeboy, the Canadian, were probably showing the two foreigners what a hockey game's like.
Don Callis, Don Calais. I think it's mostly Don Callis. Huh?
Were you there?
Where?
At the hockey game.
Yeah, because They
Oh,
do
that's
like
fucking weird.
before the start of the game, they have someone bang the drum and start the "Go Kings Go" chant, and it was always like some
Okay.
guest, and it was Don
And it
Callis
was.
and those three dudes.
Oh, so they weren't incognito, dude.
Oh
They
no,
were like
no,
there to.
from AEW
Oh,
because AEW was in town.
I know. I was just hoping you could like. It was a situation where you could walk up to them.
You know what? It's funny because we snuck down for that game, but where they do all that stuff, where they have like the
Yeah.
guest and the DJ and stuff, are like 2 sections over from my real seats. So if I was in my real seats, I probably could have run out to the, the hallway or whatever, and maybe got a picture with them or something real quick when they were walking out.
You're not the only person doing that there. It's not like you'd be annoying or anything.
But most people didn't. The only thing most people didn't even know who they were. There was like no reaction except for one guy saying, "You suck, Don Callis," and I'm like, perfect.
Damn.
So that was great, and I love Dan. I'm a big Don Callis guy. He's great, but
yeah, I don't get it, but Takeshita is cool. So
Takeshita is super cool, and he was just they were all in character pretty much.
So I got something weird to tell you, and we're going to get back into these Continental Classic lineups, but I have something really weird to tell you about sports and wrestling.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you've known this, but some of the Broncos players went to Mexico, watched CMLL, and now they've gotten a lot of the wrestlers to come perform prior to home games in Denver.
What do you mean, perform what? Like, they'd have matches outside?
Lucha Libre wrestling in the fucking field.
I don't understand. With no ring?
What else is there to say, bro? No, they have a ring. Let's see.
What?
Let's see. An exhibition match, Arena Mexico, September 8th. And then after the Arena Mexico... Okay, hang on.
At Mile High Stadium, they put a ring in there?
See, that
before
I don't know
a
all
Broncos
the details
game?
to that. Broncos game, Lucha Libre. Lucha. So the thing is, though, we've noticed this. Since the Luchas have been coming to Denver, every time the Luchas have come to Denver, the Broncos have won a home game. So, yeah. CMLL announcers to bring partnership between Lucha Libre and Empower Field. It's so random, isn't it?
That's in August they announced this, yeah. There's even a t-shirt.
Mystico, Atlantis Jr., Templario, and Volador Jr. was on October 20th.
I think you need to buy this t-shirt I just Googled. This is super sweet.
Hang on.
Oh, it's got Templario on it and Voldemort Jr. and Mystico. Dude, if you don't own this shirt, you need to buy it. If this was my favorite team, if the Dolphins had this shirt, I'm Googling that to you.
Okay, yeah, send that to me. Okay, because I will buy that shit. Yep, that's the one I see.
You need that shirt.
That looks like a shirt that they made a lot of. So
you need to buy one of those.
Let's see. Let me make sure it's not sold out and shit. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that up and try to find that because
they even have the Bronco
those are
with
shirts
the
that they
mask
gave
on.
out.
That's fantastic.
They know Lucha mask. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. And they've been winning every game with these guys at the field. So I don't know if they're going to be there tomorrow, but or Sunday.
Because I think maybe it was last year, but didn't the Broncos play a game in Mexico City like against the Raiders in the last few years too?
That's what it was, bro. That's where they went to see them.
Got it.
So the Broncos went to Arena Mexico. They saw it and they were like, "This is fucking awesome," and then they got in contact. So we know there's some Broncos or some wrestling fans in the Broncos. We know that. And it's even cooler because they're not huge celebrities. They're celebrities in Mexico, but you know what I mean, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
So let me pin that shirt and I'll see if I can get it. $25. You're right. That is an amazing shirt. Okay. We got Daniel Garcia. He's probably going to be the pin taker in a lot of this, but you know what I like about this tourney? We're still talking about the Continental Classic. Is no one in this tourney is a comedy or a loser wrestler that we know they will take pins. Does that make sense? Well,
and a guy like Daniel Garcia might be the closest to that little dancing act he does. But this is a chance to
the closest. Yeah.
This is a guy that can give him. He can have a run in this, and upgrade his legitimacy. Yeah.
The other thing, speaking of legitimacy, I don't know if you know this, but the tournament, no partners are allowed at all at ringside.
Right,
It's like
I've seen
automatic
that
DQ.
too. Yeah. Or, no one's allowed at ringside, yeah.
The other weird thing is 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw.
Okay.
So, unlike New Japan, wins are much more valuable than wins in the G1 because it's 2 points, right?
Yeah, it's 2 points. I think, Tony just is trying to take things and make it a little different than the G1, just so it's not a complete cut and paste.
Rip-off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is a rip-off. I wouldn't say rip-off's the right word, but it is. When you think of a round-robin tournament with 2 blocks and da-da-da-da, you're like, that's the G1.
Yeah,
I don't know how common these were in
soccer.
Huh?
Yeah, but the G1's a rip-off of soccer, bro.
Well, that's a different sport altogether.
I know, but I'm
round
just
robin
saying,
tournaments
asking, like, who invented the round robins?
Yeah, the event in round robin, but in terms of the use of in wrestling, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
And it is Tony saying, I love the G1, and I got to find a way to bring something like it to AEW.
Oh, Justin, that was part of the beauty of Bryan Danielson's introduction and his talking. He essentially said, I've wanted to compete in a tournament like this for years.
Yeah.
And because of the pandemic and because of this, and that, I had never been able to. So partially, part of this tournament is just being made for Bryan Danielson, too.
And I also think that at some point, Tony Khan, or when he created AEW, he wanted to eventually have a G1 type of tournament. Like, that was probably something he wrote on his little, Cody Rhodes list.
When he was a child.
Yeah, he had on a little Cody Rhodes notebook, little Cody Rhodes list.
Only problem is he had Cody as listed as the winner, so that kind of sucks. But
no, I think that is something that Tony wanted to do, and probably Daniel Bryan has helped with a lot of the, logistics of that.
Well, don't forget, WWE held a round robin tournament this year, brother. I mean,
did they?
This isn't just. Yes, they did. The what was it called? The Heritage Cup. So, I mean,
they did.
This isn't just.
Oh, was that in NXT though?
In NXT, yep.
Right.
They did the Heritage Cup, and each match had rounds, and like 2 or 3 rounds, and yeah, it was a round robin tournament. So, I mean, it's kind of weird that WWE got on this before.
Right, but NXT, AEW, I mean, it's not on Raw or anything, right?
It's still WWE, mate.
I guess so. In the universe, right? Yeah.
Shawn Michaels. Those guys are probably going to win Best Booker and Best Company this year. I have a strong feeling. All right, at least Triple H and WWE. Jay White, we have Jay White, who just come off a loss. We're going to talk about that soon. We have Jon Moxley, another favorite, I would say. Would you?
Yeah. Moxley, Jay White would be a favorite too, I would think too.
Swerve Strickland. I would say he's another favorite because of
his deathmatch performance
he's had, recently. Dude, even before that, I've been saying how good this guy was since I first saw him. Like, he was not this good in NXT. But in AEW, Swerve, I really think he's going to be a main event performer, dude.
We'll see, man. I mean, there's a lot of guys you can put that way, but there's just not enough room at the top, man.
But he's getting pushed towards that. He's actively on the way. So
sure.
We'll see if Tony Khan sticks with it.
Hey, man, it's not the first time you see a guy that looks like they're getting a push and then it just kind of stops. It happens in every company. No. So we'll see.
You're right. I'd like it. I think he has some of the best facials in all of wrestling.
Oh, he's great.
I think he's an incredible wrestler. Jay Lethal, this is a pin taker right here. So he's part of the match. And it's kind of crazy you think of Jay Lethal as a multi-time champion, and he's the pin taker here. And the same thing will go with Mark Briscoe.
Yeah,
who is one of the most...
Jay Lethal's about 3 years too late.
Past.
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah. If AEW came out 5 years ago, he would have been
4 or 5 years past.
Yeah, he would have been their top star. If it was 4 or 5 years ago.
Bro,
no, I mean he would have been he would have been
in the mix,
in the main event mix for sure. 6 years ago.
Jay Lethal is kind of the comedy guy now, but his homies aren't allowed at ringside. So interesting. Mark Briscoe, probably one of the most liked wrestlers in the company right now.
Right, and there's another guy who, if they had a real, obviously the unfortunate passing of his brother, they had some real. Didn't he have a match didn't he have an ROH title match or something like that where you thought like, okay, they'll give him?
He's had stuff like that, but he's lost most of his matches.
Right. So, I think it's just a miracle that he's on TV every week. With. The whole thing with them, right?
And supposedly he's like the coolest fucking dude ever.
And
so
definitely.
He's just been doing great stuff.
And they're going to take care of him.
And his promo, dude, was so good. His promo for the Continental Classic, he goes, "Everyone calls me Mr. Continental. Why? Because I'm going to wake up, eat my Continental breakfast, jump in my Lincoln Continental." You know what I'm saying? It was just fucking great, dude.
That's good.
Mark Briscoe, yeah. And then Roosh, who has a loss already in the tournament against Jay White. So we'll see what's going on with him. We've had 3 matches so far. We did Moxley versus Briscoe. This was the best match. This was awesome, if you can imagine.
It sounds like fun. Damn.
Yeah, Briscoe is so entertaining. He does the redneck kung fu, all that cool shit. Mm-hmm. Strickland beat Lethal. This was okay. It was a very much of a standard match, but it was good. And then White beat Roosh. This was a pretty damn good match. Roosh is very intense. White needed a quick win to bounce back, and it was good. Moving on real quick, I'm going to cut you off before you say anything here. Let me hear you talk about that that main event for Full Gear. Why don't you get into that for me?
Okay, so the first,
I'm right here.
I feel like a lot of the I love MJF, and I do. I love him, but I feel like a lot of his main events matches have been just very overbooked, and just way too many little bells and whistles. I think they just because I think MJF's a big story guy with his matches. And I understand that, and that's why he's kind of a throwback in a way. But I just especially the first flaw I found was if MJF wasn't cleared to wrestle against Jay White, then
why would you pick Adam Cole?
Why would Adam Cole be cleared with a clear ailment? So that was the overbooking of it, and they have Adam Cole come out with his crutches, and I don't know,
trying to stop him or anything.
Yeah,
20 people come out and try to stop MJF,
and then MJF finally comes out very wounded from the attack, and then just kind of beats Jay White, and a guy like Jay White who's signed to be a top person in that company, and he's I don't know, I just felt like it hurt him. More than it helped MJF.
Yeah, but there's levels to this, bro.
But MJF, why couldn't they just have a wrestling match? Unless it's going to be the whole devil thing comes out, and and that's another thing too, is I think there's a lot of people that paid $50 for that pay-per-view, and they got no hint at all about the devil. It was almost like forgotten about for that pay-per-view.
Right. Well, first on the devil thing, I'm not expecting any devil reveal at any time. I mean, it'll happen when it happens, but I wouldn't buy a pay-per-view for it because, look, AEW is very long-term when it comes to a lot of that shit.
Right, but at least an appearance or some type of tease, or progression, if you will.
And it's probably Jack Perry anyway, so
yeah, that's what it seems like. I guess that would be the odds-on favorite would be, or unless you're a sick fuck and think it's CM Punk.
And think CM Punk, yeah. Unless you're a sick fuck.
How good would that be, though? How good? How
dude,
hilarious?
Actually, it wouldn't. I would be bothered. Dude, I don't like being lied to by wrestling companies. I don't mind a swerve, but a straight up lie, like you've heard about this whole MLW bullshit, right?
What's the MLW thing?
Like, motherfuckers were, asking to get out of the company only to join a different faction in the company. Like, they were asking for their release and shit.
And they were treating that...
on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
And then everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's asking for his release." And then the next episode, they're like, "We finally got our release, so we joined this faction instead."
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. MLW is on the fringe of, they need to capitalize on any type of social outlet they can. It would be
so much more loserish for AEW because it's like, oh, really? You wrote up this, you caused all this drama and wrote this paper saying you fired him with cause. You did all that for nothing just for him to come back and
Well, I don't think they really drew up any paperwork.
They absolutely did, bro. He had to sign tons of shit for him getting fired. And also,
how do you know?
Tony Khan.
Oh, dude, who did? Wait, who had to sign stuff? Oh, with CM Punk?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. This isn't happening. I'm just kidding, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
It would be quite the ruse.
It would be cool, and I'm saying it would be quite the ruse, but it would be so much. I think they would lose the fucking faith. I think people would not watch AEW shit.
I think there's a lot of people that are kind of losing a little faith in them right now. I'm not saying I agree with it.
There's a shitload of people that.
Yeah.
Dude, AEW is from what I've seen, it's generally hated at this point, and maybe I'm in the wrong forums, but.
I haven't really been a frequent watcher of WWE in recent years, to be honest, but in months especially. What's the scene like there?
Much more positive, even though WWE still has a lot of bullshit. But it's like this, dude. What I've noticed is most people just don't talk about WWE. If they have to talk about something, they're going to talk shit. But again, the part of the reason I did this show was I don't have to talk about Twitter people, and I don't know, bro. I can't say what everyone thinks. This is just a vibe that I get.
Right. I'm just saying, what's the general consensus?
Even on the AEW subreddit is it's just people asking why do people hate AEW so bad? And it's just us going I don't know. I mean, there's some bad stuff, there's some good stuff, but it's pretty enjoyable.
I think that there is. WWE people that feel like AEW is an enemy of theirs or something. I don't know. Do
you remember back in the day when we all wanted AEW to succeed, to have that second, We all wanted them to succeed, and a lot of people would, even if they fucked something up, they'd be like, all right, they're still learning. It's the company's only been around for 4 or 5 years, and they're still learning, dude.
I mean, I feel like if they weren't succeeding, they would be off TNT or whatever by now, or TBS.
And they wouldn't have sold 80,000 tickets.
Yeah, right. So we'll see how it does next year. That's going to be really interesting.
Dude, I'm hearing if they sell 40 or 50 next year, that'll be a huge success.
But I think that's one of the reasons they must have brought in Ospreay before his contract was up at New Japan.
Oh, dude, he's already on the intro. He's already on the Dynamite intro already.
Yeah, I think a part of that must have been for the UK crowd. But, that was another thing where New Japan feels like it's being slighted with this partnership with AEW.
He says he's keeping it in the family. And when he said that, I think he considers AEW and New Japan close enough to where...
I think a lot of those guys, I don't think... they decide to sign with AEW. I think, the main reasons why, honestly, if I was Will Ospreay, I would have went to WWE.
Dude, I wouldn't have, and I'm telling you, first of all, they would have made this motherfucker go to Orlando, right?
I know, and that's the reason why I said he didn't. But I kind of thought Ospreay, before I knew those circumstances, that's what, Gunther had to finally do.
Why wouldn't AEW just outpay them? I mean, they can, dude. WWE has their limits too, believe it or not.
They do. I feel like he must have got...
How bad do you want a certain guy? It's supposedly a 7-figure contract for 3+ years.
Well, the thing about Ospreay is he's faced everyone in both companies pretty much. With some exceptions.
Yes.
But... you're never going to see him versus Seth Rollins unless it's in WWE.
And that's WWE's fault, bro. They want to have their island.
But then again, that match is going to be not, like we talked about before, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, dream match. And then it's watered down with bullshit, right?
Well, his style would have to change, surely. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff would have to change. I feel like he can be a little bit more of himself, but the biggest thing here was that he can live in England working with AEW.
Right, and that's the main reason why he didn't, was they wanted him to relocate, and that's something that he wasn't willing to do, and understandably so. He's married, he's got a stepkid now.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know what his wife is doing either, because she's definitely been all over NXT after she healed her injury.
Who are you talking about?
Where their kid lives. I'm talking about, isn't he married to that girl?
The one that he smacked in New Japan?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Oh, they're not together no more?
No. They actually broke up around that time.
Have been broken up for years then.
Yeah, they were. They have been.
God, what's her name? She has two names, and I can't remember either one.
I know. I got her face in my head. He's been with another woman for a while, and I think he got married. And
people say
she has a kid.
Yeah.
She has a stepkid that's like, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old or something.
Oh, okay.
So he's changed his whole mindset since that happened. I think. Yeah.
It was Blair Davenport, and then it was, what was her stardom name? No one remembers. Listeners know, and they're pissed at us. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing this. This is, Bea Priestley was her name. Okay,
Bea Priestley.
Okay. Well, good for him. Shit. I honestly had no idea, and I'm really happy for him that he has a wife and a stepkid, and he's taking care of them. That's awesome.
So that's why he didn't want to go to that. He ended up not going to WWE's because he didn't want to relocate his whole family and all that. So that's understandable, but
without there's a lot to be said about not wanting to run into your ex in the hallways.
But the thing about Will that makes it cool is he could sign a 3-year contract with WWE, and then in 33 he can go back and go to do whatever he wants because he's still young.
Well, he's only got a 3-year contract with AEW. His career is far from
And I think that means that he could probably still go to WWE in 3 years too. So he still has a window. Smart guy.
I'm telling you, bro. I have no interest in watching him and Seth Rollins, so that's just.
I'm just saying. I saw him.
I feel like that's the match everyone wants. I'm like, eh.
No, I just use that as an example because that was who's this guy that's coming out with Yota Tsuji in the World Tag League? The pirate guy. It's pretty cool.
Who is he?
El Sobrante Jr. or something like that.
El Sobrano.
Yeah, pretty cool. I like the eye patch thing.
I think he just turned heel, bro. And then he's wrestling as a baby. I don't remember. Like, there was something weird he did. Like, he turned heel in Mexico and then had to wrestle as a baby face in
New Japan?
I don't know. I think.
We got Jon Moxley as a heel in AEW, but in New Japan, he's a big baby face. So I don't know.
Dude, everything's different. I mean, Jon Moxley's a babyface in AEW, bro. He might, even if he beats up people on the side and fucks people up, they still cheer him.
They're like, oh, that's just Jon Moxley.
That's just Jon Moxley, yeah.
Zadikin Jr. Pretty cool. King of the world.
Noticed anything good about real quick. So we talked about that last match. I didn't get to give my opinion on it, and. Justin, I will say, I guess I was one of the lucky few who only watched the second half of the show. And so I just saw him come out limping, and I just figured, he's going to limp and win the match that way. And so I will say, I'm not a huge fan of having any wrestler wrestle a main event all fucked up.
Right.
Unless, like, the heels are just so hateable that you really want to see him win. But Jay White, I think I would have preferred to see a more even match, but dude, what I did see, I really enjoyed. I loved that match. I thought it was great.
I thought the match and all that stuff was fine because they're both very fine wrestlers and great wrestlers, but just I just thought the overbooking and the storyline, it was just too much. And they did the same thing with the Adam Cole match in England, and it's just a little too much theatrics for my liking.
Yeah, I could see that, and a lot of people did bring this up. They brought up like, you could have done it this way and avoided all that stuff, and I'm like, that's true. Like, something I've realized about wrestling over time is that kiss, like keeping it simple, is really important, right? It's I always used to.
What is the end goal with the MJF thing? What do you think who is going to get that title from him? And
I don't know if they know that yet, dude.
And is Adam Cole just?
I'm guessing Ospreay.
Is Adam Cole just keeping, himself relevant when he's got an injury, or is this not a legit injury?
Well, it's definitely a legit injury. I don't know, dude. I don't know when. We don't know enough to stay. We don't know when Adam Cole will be back, right? So
no idea. Yeah.
I mean, the hope is that we can get it into the story, and it doesn't take 3 years, right? Because you have this injured guy who was a huge part of of MJF's story,
right?
So I don't know, man. We have the MJF coming up with Samoa Joe. That'll be good, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Just another filler defense, unfortunately.
I don't know. Maybe they want to get the belt off MJF in a little bit to focus on that story. Maybe they take the belt off MJF before Adam Cole comes back and they can complete this story with the tag team championships or something. I don't know, bro.
I can see, I think that they kind of already do this with MJF where they need to break him down and rebuild him. But that sounds like something with a long-term babyface. Because, MJF's a babyface now. He's our scumbag. Right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I still think he's a better heel.
I don't know. Well, yeah, but The Rock was a better heel, in my opinion, bro. And
Absolutely.
He's a great babyface, too.
Absolutely.
But he's just good at everything,
Well, he's such a good heel that he's a good babyface,
You know what I've noticed, too, is that when we look about these characters, The Rock, John Cena, when you look at Stone Cold, something I notice all these guys have, which is, tell me if this is weird or not, but they are all fucking hilarious as babyfaces.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just me? Or is this true? All these guys have a huge comedy side on their babyface, and even on their heel side almost.
Yeah, I think if you're a cool heel, you're a babyface pretty much these days.
Because you're saying the funniest shit, making fun of people, right?
Yeah.
You have all the best punchlines, yeah. But even when they're baby faces too, and John Cena took it over the edge sometime. I remember he'd be like, "Oh, my email is fancy, the unicorn, at Gmail," that shit like that. But
John Cena was more corny than funny.
He was very corny, yeah. So it's just something weird I've noticed. Okay, so the Continental Classic, we're going to see how that's going. Next match is tomorrow. World Tag League, do we have standings real quick? Do you know what's going on in that, or am I going to spoil it for you if I look it up?
Just look it up. I'm just been kind of watching. I haven't really been keeping track of the winners and losers. I'm watching Yuji Nagata and Minoru Suzuki against, the pirate guy and Yota Tsuji right now.
Oh, the pirate guy. Oh, he's a Mexican wrestler. You said, my bad.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
Do you think that we should get ourselves some replica World Tag League trophies, one for me and one for you?
We haven't already? They're not.
And then we'll be able to touch them together when we meet up.
Yes, we'll put the heads together and rub.
Okay. Let me figure out. Well, no, they connect together, don't they? They're the two arms, like this.
They should
right?
make a necklace like that where you can give the other part to a friend.
Like a locket.
Is the Token Global Shop on listening to us? Because that would be an item I'd recommend.
We have a wrestler that knows us, so we'll say that. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, okay, he goes, those are the assholes that lost the recording.
Oh God, dude! Don't remind me. I've talked to him about it so many times.
So he was aware of it and everything too.
I told him multiple times. He was kind of pissed at first, I think, because this was his last podcast before he shaved his head. But then he said, "You guys are my boys, and we'll do it again sometime." And he says, "Just know y'all are cool in my book." I was like, "Okay, cool."
I'm actually almost cried. The tear ducts almost started. That's wonderful. Yeah, he's a cool dude, man. I like him a lot. Like I said, we bought the T-shirt. I wish he should have told me, "Hey, man, wait a minute. I'm going to change up something, and then you can buy the shirt."
Oh, God.
I got the Streets of Rage shirt. It's pretty cool, though.
He did say something was changing soon.
Oh, he was hinting. Yeah.
He was hinting, but the whole thing that pissed me off was not only did I lose our interview with Hinare, so people know, but his T-shirt also was sent to the wrong address. And then I hit him up, and he was like, "I'll try to do something about it," but he'd never.
What's he gonna do?
So, what's he gonna do? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's in America.
I bet though, if you contacted the Tokon Global shop, they would have done something.
I want to tell you another little bit of drama going on in his world too.
But what happens
messaged me
at the place that they sent your shirt? They just throw it in the garbage or something?
That's what it was. It was a sober house, dude.
But so can't you just call the sober house and say, "Hey, man, I think I had something actually sent to you guys"?
I did 10 times. They don't answer the phone at sober houses, bro.
Can't you just stop by and explain what happened?
If I took the bus there, it would probably take me an hour and a half to get there.
Oh, dear.
But yes, but this happened months ago, bro. It's gone by now. You'll watch. I'll walk in and the guy that answers the door will be wearing the fucking T-shirt.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's like, I've never heard of that. I'm like, you're wearing the T-shirt. So yeah, Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols are at the top of Block A in World Tag League, and Atlantis and
wait, were you going to say that somebody messaged you or something? Or no?
Yeah. This was. I'm just gonna say who the top are in Block A and Block B, and then I'll move on. So Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols are on top of Block A. Atlantis and Soberano Jr. on top of Block B, and this Yodatsuji Zandakon Jr. is his name.
Badass. I love it.
Zandakon. I've never heard of him. He must be Mexican though, because it's. Let's see, Zandakon Jr. He's got a cool name.
Yeah.
Yodatsuji. Let's see who he is. You said a pirate.
Yeah, he's got a mask, but it's like pirate.
Shit.
Badass look. I love it.
Oh, he is a pirate. His old name was Hijo del Bucanero Jr.
Yeah, I like pirates.
Son of the Buccaneer. Okay. I'm going to have to check this dude out. He's got a cool mask.
He does.
An eye patch on the mask. Okay.
And he seems pretty big, too.
Looks like he actually kind of looks white, but he is a Mexican wrestler. I guess what? You can live in Mexico and actually be fair-skinned. That is possible.
Well, you ever watch like a Mexican soap opera where most of the people look like white people? So
I've seen all those on Univision back in the day. I watched a lot of those. That's like our Argentina's new president kind of looks like a white guy and is just as crazy as many of them to boot. So
all right.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about, right? You've seen him?
I've heard of him, but I haven't seen him. I don't think. Here, I'll look him up.
You look up a picture of him. What's his name? He's going to be like the Donald Trump of Argentina. Argentina, new president.
Oh, yeah. He looks like,
whoa.
Jesus Christ, like Neil Diamond or something. I don't know.
Kind of like Neil Diamond running Argentina now.
Looks like a whack job. Dude.
Oh, no, he's dressed as a superhero in one of these pictures. But that's a whole different thing. The other thing is, and we'll call this our last thing unless you had something else to say. This was a message I got from Hinare a while back. And Hinare sent me a message from Reddit that was calling out the Fale school for being a scam.
Oh, okay. So he sent that to you? That? I did hear it.
That to me.
He sent that to you saying Fale's a scam?
No, he didn't send it to. Okay, he sent it. He sent the post to me.
Okay.
And so I asked him. I said, I don't know what to say to all this. Like, what's your take? Because I don't want to say anything to piss him off or anything. Because we know that Fale was part of the reason he got in.
Sure.
So, and he's just like, I just hope it's not true, bro. That's all he could tell me. Is like, I hope it's not true.
So he just sent it to you with no context.
Yeah, with no context, just like read this, and then he
told you, hey, check this out.
Yeah, and I said,
that's interesting.
I don't know how to respond. I don't know, like what how am I supposed to respond in a way? And he's just like, well, it's just like I just don't know what's going on. He's like, I hope this isn't true. So and then there's been a few more posts on the Reddit just saying like that wrestling school is not up to snuff, just like many wrestling schools are. Justin, you pay your money and then you barely get a chance to be on a show. Maybe 1 out of 10 guys gets to be on a show,
Right.
And then like the people that get referenced to Japan are often guys that end up spending the most money and stuff like that. I don't know if all this is true, so we're going to throw the alleged marker on there, right? And I like Fale, so
Sure.
It's going to take some time to figure out what's going on there. We will keep you guys updated. Obviously, it's all just word of mouth right now. But
yeah, it's been.
you know.
I think it's kind of. It came out a few months ago, and very interesting that he would send that to you and say, "Hey, read this." That actually makes me feel like he does tie us
worried
and
about
hold.
the situation.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, he does. He respects
Holds
us.
you in
That's
high
why
regard.
Yeah, and then I actually hit him back a week ago and said if he had any updates. And I told him I'm not trying to get a story or anything. I'm just wondering what's going on. And he just said, I haven't heard anything since then.
I did hear at one point they made him take down the New Japan logo from their stuff.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good, bro.
But I don't know if that's true or not. And I think a lot of it was...
It's all word of mouth.
Did you watch any of the documentary series they did?
Oh, I actually didn't. And you said it was good, right?
It was very good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of times with things like that, of course there's obviously the chance that there's legitimacy behind it. And, I guess one of the guys was, there's Fale and there's the other trainer guy there. That's an American guy or Canadian, one of those. And a lot of the complaints were based on that guy being an asshole. More or less,
and that's
right?
what I'm saying. It very well could be. But the data, we just don't know right now.
But it's one of those things where, Fale is just not, even though he might not have known what was going on, the fact that he's running that school and isn't aware is an issue.
And his name might be on the front and stuff
right.
like that. Yeah.
Or it's just the fact that he's not involved enough to know or whatever, and there's people... But then, there's a side where we see it all the time. These guys, they commit to this stuff and they pay money. And I'm not saying they get a sense of entitlement, but they get frustrated when they're not getting chances and they feel like everyone's against them. And you know what I mean? It's disgruntled, customers.
Well, Dark Side of the Mat showed me what the wrestling kind of grind looked like from that perspective. Yeah. And it's like, Teacher is kind of a ripoff, doesn't care, and he did get him on WWE, which was kind of cool, but just not a whole lot there. And you just hope that one of your favorite wrestlers isn't doing a similar operation.
Yeah,
and
but I could see
like you said, we don't know, and it's like it could be this, it could be that, but we're not sure yet.
I could see that a wrestling school model could be you have your guys that are going to actually have some talent and have potential, and you treat them differently than you treat a guy that's just doing it and has no potential
and pays.
Doing it just to learn. So if you don't do it right, you're making those guys feel terrible and alienating them, but still taking their money and exploiting them a little bit to keep the school running. I don't know.
That very well could be too. I mean, because there are a group of people that are paying their $1,000 or however much to get their lessons, and that's it. After that, they're done. They're done with the teachers are done doing what they needed to do. The person can leave. I mean, it's just like buying any product, but not everyone makes it into this close group of wrestlers. If
you're drawing people into the school and baiting and switching them with stuff, then that's an issue, and that shouldn't be happening. And if you're telling people, "Hey, man, you're going to be in Japan if you keep this up," and then I just need $1,000 more, then that should not be happening.
Exactly.
Or the whole tracksuit thing, and they had to pay for their tracksuits. I mean, there's a lot of ugly stuff in there. With the room they were living in, the houses.
All sorts of stuff, and it's almost in my head. I'm like, oh, it's going to be just like the Japanese dojo, except you won't be on New Japan TV and stuff. I'm not sure that's not how it is, but it's like the dojo life, If you're on TV and working that dojo life, it's cool. But if you're just doing it because you paid to do it, you're fucked.
And I could be 100% wrong, because I don't know this guy that Fale's teaming with right now, that Jack Bonza. Is he from that dojo? I don't know. But I don't think any of those guys from the show have made it. I know
I know he's from Australia, I'm pretty sure. But I don't know about being from the Fale dojo.
Right. So I don't know what if any of those guys have made it. I know the one
Well,
guy, he was a young lion for a while, Michael Richards, right? And
and then he wasn't.
he had a little bit of a run, I want to say, in what's the Young Lion Cup or whatever, and he was just
Oh
out of
yeah,
shape and all that
yeah.
and didn't look great, and then he went back.
Lions break or something.
Right, and part of the storyline of the show was that he blew his opportunity, and now he's getting a second chance, and he got himself in a lot better shape and all that stuff. So, anyways,
Oh, God, I'm happy we have our chosen career paths, bro. We'll just put it that way.
guess.
A lot of money is pretty nice, but God, imagine working your ass off, working out, 3 times a day and shit, only to be told, like, sorry, you need to find something else to do.
Yeah,
It would suck. I guess all athletes go through similar things. I was an umpire for a while. Umpires go through the same thing. Same shit, man. Okay, well, then we're going to leave it at that. We're going to say we don't know. And we'll talk about this more when we hear stuff. But it's tough because it's all word of mouth. It's all up in the air. But we definitely, as we always say on the show, we hope the best for everyone involved.
yeah. And
unless you deserve something bad, and then we'll talk about it.
Injustices going on, those people deserve to be heard from, for sure.
Exactly. Yep. So, all right, man. And you said that you saw the AEW wrestlers at the Kings game on the show, right? Did you say that on the show?
I think so.
Okay, I think you did. So we should be good. I thought that was interesting. Besides that, we've got more Continental Classic matches coming. We got tournaments this season. We got World Tag League tournament. We've got Wrestle Kingdom coming up. Oh God, it's gonna get crazy, Justin.
It is.
We've got World's End World's End is right before Wrestle Kingdom. We've got Survivor Series tomorrow. Big month coming up, and obviously we're all dealing with the holidays too. So we'll have some time off, Justin, and we'll have time to record. Thank God. Like tonight, this is the earliest we've recorded on a Friday fucking night.
Fantastic. I love it.
I know, it's like you don't have to go immediately to bed when you're done.
Nope.
Cool.
I might.
Yeah, though. I might. I might hit the bar, but
good for you.
Play about some other stuff after this. We'll see.
It was funny because we were driving on Melrose today because I had to go down to the art store with my wife. So we're on the way back from the art store. There's this local bar, not local, but a bar in Melrose that I would go to. I don't know. I haven't been there for years, but I was like, it closed. The Village Idiot, it's called, and it closed. And I was like, telling my wife, I'm like, yeah, it's really unfortunate that place closed, man. I like that place. And she's like, you never went. I'm like, I don't go to bars. I don't, it's just not, what am I going to do that?
You feel nostalgia for something that you really didn't patronize.
Right. I love bars, but I don't go to them really because, wife, kids, and my wife doesn't really go drink or anything. So,
Brother,
not really.
I've had places shut down I've never even been to, and I felt sad about it. Like we had this kid's place called It's ITZ. We had a place here. It was like an arcade, and I never went into it, and it shut down. And it was a kid's place, not for adults, but it shut down, and I was like, damn, I miss that place.
There was a cool bar kind of right by the Village Idiot called the Dark Room, and it was basically an old converted car garage they turned into a bar.
We drove by it, brother.
Oh, okay.
You showed me that. I still want to check out a lot of those places. The place I was
different now.
It's
something else now. It's finally something else now, but it's just some stupid. I mean, it looks cool, but
we drove down there and you were like, "Oh, I used to go to this place. I used to go to this place."
Yeah.
So yeah, those places were cool, and obviously where we are, there's like bars everywhere too. So,
and if Maria and the kids go to Japan next summer, that maybe you can plan a trip to come out then, because then you can just stay here.
We'll definitely stay in contact about that, bro. So definitely. That'd be fun as hell. It's sad that you can't go to Japan though.
Yeah, we got the dog and everything, so it just really.
Wow. I don't think people bring their dogs across nations, do they?
No, especially Japan's a little harder to do that too.
Yeah, you keep your dog in a little thing under the plane for 18 hours.
Well, that, and I think Japan, with like kind of the different diseases and stuff that dogs get here.
Yeah, they're like, no dogs. No dogs.
Yeah.
Inu janai.
There you go.
Is that right?
I think so. Inu is dog, right?
Ask Maria. Inu Janite.
She's all the way in the other room. It's okay.
Okay, it's all good. Okay, guys. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate you. We went a good hour and 45 minutes just about. And I'll be talking to you this weekend too. So everyone have a good weekend. Have a great Thanksgiving. Have a great Christmas, although we'll probably talk to you before then. And we will see you guys later.
Farewell.